Today, I said goodbye to Mickey. I canceled everything. My resort reservations, my tickets, not my flight. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But I even canceled my annual pass. Let's talk about it. Welcome everyone, Mark here from the Average Me channel. Today is kind of a sad day, but I'm not going to make this a sad video. I hope this is interesting for you. I know that a lot of you that watch this channel are fans of Disney parks, and I know a lot of you couldn't care less, but you like to hear about my travel adventures, if you want to call it that. And this is kind of a combination of both. I'm going to give you a quick synopsis. I know if you follow the channel, you've heard this story already, so I'll make it 30 seconds long. I had reservations to go down to Walt Disney World in April. Come March, they shut everything down. I thought, it'll be a couple weeks. My April reservations will be good. Well, obviously, you saw what happened. Here we are in July, and the parks are still closed down, but they're going to be opening soon. And it's this opening that actually led me to cancel everything. So let's go back to the beginning. When it was time to cancel my April reservation, I thought, how far in advance should I go? When will these parks open up again? And I figured September would be safe. So I made park reservations for, where was I going to be? Pop Century is where I made the reservations. And I made my flight reservations, and Disney offered an incentive. I suppose at the time they wanted to make sure that people rebooked. Right now I'm not so sure, because they tend to be doing things that are more geared toward discouraging people from coming rather than encouraging them to come. We'll talk about that in a minute. But back in April, what they did is they offered a free dining plan. So I thought, free dining plan, that's pretty good. I'd like to take part in that. And when I called up to ask about it, they said, you have to buy a package, meaning I had to have a reservation with tickets. I said, but I'm an annual pass holder. They said, that's fine. You can buy tickets, and then when you renew your pass next year, the cost of those tickets can be applied to your annual pass. I said, sounds pretty good. So I bought tickets, even though I'm an annual pass holder. I bought tickets for my wife and I during our stay down there. Now, here's where it gets kind of tricky. They rescinded that offer. So there was no longer a free dining plan on the table, but they said that we could get a 35% discount on our room, on our resort. Well, that's not that much money. The cost, I think what that ends up being is about $40 a day. And maybe a little more, but the cost of the daily ticket was more than that. So have no benefit at all. So I was going to call them. Trying to get through to Disney right now is an absolute nightmare. So I said, well, why don't I just keep them and I'll apply them to my annual pass anyway. As it worked out, my annual pass expired during this lockdown period. No one knew how long it was going to be, so I renewed my annual pass. They said that they would extend your annual pass for the time of the closure, which means my annual pass would actually not be activated for next year until September, still before I arrive there. This is all going to come together in a minute, I promise you. So here's what they did now. They came up with a system. I got to make sure I get this right, so I'm looking off to the side. It is called the Required Disney Park Pass System. So the Disney Park Pass System says, even if you have your park admission, an annual pass, a ticket, whatever, you have to make reservations for the day you're going to go to the park. Which, for a lot of people, I guess that's okay. I'm not a person that plans that far ahead. 3 months from now, how do I know what park I want to be in? The second thing is, they restricted you to only one park a day.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
That's right, one park a day, even if you have the park hopper pass. So I did buy a park hopper pass. I know a lot of people did that wouldn't benefit in the same way that I would, in that they may not be annual pass holders and they couldn't apply to their annual pass. Annual pass holders are also supposed to be able to have unlimited access to parks. Even if you have a ticket or an annual pass, you still have to make your reservation in advance, because they could reach the limit of how many people they want to get in the park. You could have bought a ticket or bought an annual pass and still be locked out for a particular day. And you had to make a reservation, and you have to. I talked in the past tense for me, but for everyone, you still have to make that reservation for every single day. You can't just say, well, I'll be going to Magic Kingdom for all 4 days of my stay. Then you have to go back in and you have to block off Magic Kingdom for every person in your party every single day. First time I went, took me 2 days. I did a video on it. I'll link to it here. Long story short, after 2 days, I got in one time, and then they kicked me out of the system. Eventually, I got in, and then they told me, well, you can't go in every day because you only have this 2-day park hold. And I said, wait a minute. I know, because I only had to buy it a minimum of 2 days in order to get that so-called benefit that they then rescinded. So I only bought 2 days worth, and they said, you only have 2-day ticket. Yeah, but I'm also an annual pass holder, so technically I do have double tickets. Nevertheless, I had trouble getting in. So here the frustration is mounting and mounting. And then they start talking about not only having to have reservations, but you also might be restricted and not be able to get into a park.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
You can only do one park a day.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Once you get into the parks, no more fireworks.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Everybody's required to wear a mask at all times.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
No parades.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
No character meet and greets.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Well, I could go on, but the point is it truly a, as Disney calls it, a magical experience? And I have determined no. So, what I did, I spent 2 more days trying to get in to cancel my reservations. And they tell you, well, you can go online and cancel, but it's not the same thing because I'm an annual pass holder. I bought tickets I didn't need. There's a lot more involved than just going and clicking a button online if you are in anything other than the ideal situation. One time, I waited on the phone an hour and 22 minutes. Finally, someone answered. But of course, you're not just standing there with the phone up to your ear for an hour and 22 minutes. I had it on speaker and I was around the house doing things. I heard them answer. I ran over to the phone. She said hello. I said hello. Click. I swear it did not take me more than 3 seconds to get to that phone. She obviously knew someone was there because it kicked over then to the survey. How did this call go? And I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. I sat on this phone for an hour and 22 minutes, and because of a 3-second hesitation in answering her, she hung up on me. And so then I was frustrated, and I waited till the next day. Very similar thing happened. Finally, after the third, and plus every time you try to call, I called 45 times before I even got in and made a connection. And then their system, it's automated, so it says, please say what you want. If it doesn't understand what you're asking for, it makes assumptions. Oh, you want reservations. Now, here's what's been happening. I know there's a lot going on here, but Disney is completely confused and messed up right now. They don't even know what they're doing. And I heard that from one of the people I talked to, one of the cast members on the phone. She said some people are still on furlough. I said, you probably don't even know what the changes are from day to day. She said, we don't know what they are from hour to hour. So what they wanted to do was kick me over the reservations. I was talking to the annual pass holder line earlier, and I said, I want to cancel my pass holder. One of the options they gave you, you could either have it extended or just cancel it, and they would refund you the difference, what you have remaining. She said, I can't do that. Well, why not? Well, you have to tomorrow morning call this other line. I'm telling you, if I had hair, I'd be pulling it out right now. So when I called back one of those 3 times, I finally got through, and I waited an hour and a half or so each time. I was really concerned, am I even going to be put through to the right person? Because the person at Reservations told me what they're doing is kicking the pass holder calls over to us if they get overwhelmed or too many, and we can't do the things the pass holder line can do. Which is probably why that pass holder person said, I can't do that for you. Long story short, if it's not too late, I canceled my reservation at Pop Century. I canceled my tickets. Hopefully those are supposed to be refunded to my credit card. We'll see. I canceled my annual pass, what was remaining. The one I purchased that's supposed to kick in and go into effect in August, I canceled that as well for a full refund. We will see. I hope that comes. I have my fingers crossed. So to make, this whole thing, what it boils down to is I completely cut all ties to Disney. No reservations. My Disney experience is not even active anymore. When I go there, I still have an account. All of my pictures have disappeared from there. Everything is gone. I'm no longer an annual pass holder. So there's more to this, but I'm sure I've bored you enough. But why did I not cancel my reservations? Well, my airline reservations. In turn, I kept my reservation, but I rebooked at a Hilton property in the Orlando area because I am a pretty high status level, the highest you can have, diamond status with Hilton. So I get a lot of perks. So I booked 5 days at a Hilton property, and here's my thinking. I could still, if I want to get a Disney fix, I can still go, maybe, if they're still letting people arrive there, I can still go to Disney Springs. I can still use the Disney complimentary transportation system, depending what's working. I can get to the monorails. I can visit my favorite hotels like the Polynesian and Grand Floridian and some of those and still enjoy myself, maybe have dinner at those places. But I have a family member who has an annual pass with Universal. And Universal at this point seems to be far more welcoming and far more inviting to guests. And she can get discounted tickets. So they're also running a special. And the special might even be better than the discounted tickets. The special is buy 2, get 2. So you can buy 2 tickets to the park and get 2. That'll cover almost my whole 5 days. That's 4 of my 5 days. So I'll probably be doing that. I also had enough. Normally I was going to use the Disney Express to get from the airport to the Disney property and just stay there. But I do have enough points on one of my rental car accounts that I can get a free car for the week. So I'll be able to get around, go to my hotel, go, like I said, to Springs if I need to. And as I said, I have a family member with a pass to Universal. That includes free parking at Universal Studios. So it's actually going to work out pretty well, I think. But will I ever be going back to see the mouse? Probably. Right now I have to say I have a very sour Disney taste in my mouth. But if and when things return to normal, I'm sure I'll be returning. Now, why do I say if and when? Because there's a tendency to hang on to things. For example, when they put all of the high security in place, that was after 9/11, 2001. It's almost 20 years, and they have not pulled back on that, even though there really has not been a strong imminent threat of any terrorism. So I'm really concerned. This seems a little outrageous, but I'm really concerned that masks are going to be a thing that they just have forever, or similar things, and I don't like having that feeling. But of course, every time I was optimistic, sure, the park will be open by April, I was turned away and I was proven wrong. So maybe if I go in the other direction and think, oh, we have to wear masks forever, maybe the opposite of that will happen as well. Anyway, that is my experience. I would love to hear your comments, everybody. Please leave them down below. How have your Disney plans been going? Tell me all about it. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe by clicking my face in the corner. Ring that bell icon up above so you know when I post new videos. Oh, and like and share. Did I say that already? Well, I'll just remind you twice if I did. I'm Mark, and this is the Average Me Channel.